Hey folks, this is Ben Gessel. I have some good news, kind of at least on my end, but maybe good news for you guys too. There was some stuff that was just clogging up my phone, I think, that maybe was slowing down my phone in general. Just I had a bunch of files that I just needed to delete. So hopefully my phone will be running better. And I found that I could also upload much quicker. Um, it's all very technical. Anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. So again, that's good news, at least for both of us, both sides. This is going to be kind of a trip down memory road for the 70s and 80s folks. Um, and it's going to be more on the kid side. So I'm kind of getting into my kid mode here, the kind of thing here. So these are, as I go through this stuff, just He-Man stuff and Super Friends and Hanna-Barbera, and there's a lot of other things, of course, you can talk about, like all the Saturday morning cartoon stuff, and I don't know. As I go through this stuff, I'm going to specify what it is I'm kind of looking at with these favorites here. So by best He-Man characters, I'm not talking about most powerful. I'm not talking about the most powerful ones. I'm talking about which characters are the most creative or most original. And this is definitely, again, you guys can feel free to disagree. I want you guys to disagree. You can see the whole thing. I'm going to go through this. And if you don't know about He-Man, don't worry about it. We can fast forward to something you do know. That's right. Let's start from the bottom here. Triclops was one of the bad guys. And this was the He-Man versus Skeletor group. So he was on Skeletor's team, Triclops. Yeah, I thought Three Eyes. I think it was I liked his colors. Trapjaw's colors are even cooler. And that, you didn't want to get your finger stuck in his mouth. Kind of, yeah. Moss Man, I just love the Moss. What can I say? I think Beast Man, that was in the She-Ra group, was similar that way. It was just kind of a unique kind of thing they put on him. Zodak, I think Zodak was kind of a missed opportunity because he was kind of on his own team. And so, I mean, if you ever have another He-Man movie, they should have Zodak in there. And Zodak should factor in very heavily in that plot because he, again, as far as I remember, he kind of had more of a neutral alignment. Anytime you have more neutrally aligned characters in any movie whatsoever, those are often the much more interesting ones to follow or have as part of your story. Mecha Neck, I just loved his extendable neck. And he has some cool colors. Orko, because he was, kind of a cutesy little guy. Sorry, my foot is acting up. I might make this in multiple parts here. One sec here. Anyway, so I'm doing fine. So Orko's fun little guy. He kind of made the whole show, He-Man show, a lot more magical and fun. And if you were annoyed by him, I understand. But I always liked Orko. He's cool. Of course, He-Man, he was not the most original guy, but he was pretty central to the whole thing considering he was the main character. So I know they had, I always noticed that crossover with He-Man and Superman, of course, because, yep, yeah, it's pretty obvious. Anyway, yep. 80's, being a boy in the 80's, you had to love He-Man and Superman. It's impossible not to. Many Faces, well, you could spin his faces around, so I thought that was pretty cool. Cyclone had cool colors, yellow and blue, I think. Whiplash had those green colors, and I think his tail was pretty menacing. He was one of the tougher guys, I thought. Spikor had these, spikes all over him, and he had the purple and blue colors. Kind of cool. Mantenna's eyes popped out. I always thought that was kind of scary looking. It's kind of cool. Snout Spout, because you could squirt water at people. Stinkor, because he smelled. And there's a leech guy. I think it was part of the She-Ra group. Whatever. Hordak, he was on Hordak's team. So he had these little suckers and things. So he could get attached to things. Anyway, moving on here a little bit. This is a kind of Super Friends list here. So this was a little bit more along the lines of who I thought was the most powerful. And I know some of this you can't see so well. Sorry. Just Okay. And my writing isn't super legible, but I'm going to start with. So this is more of a power ranking. I'm going to mention this first, though. Um, General Zod. General Zod could kick everyone's ass. ASS. Except, of course, for Superman. So I often wonder why they didn't have Zod in there, but I'm sure I think I know why. Because you had different. It was the same deal with Joker. You had different things involving using different characters for different. I don't know. I'm sure it's contracts. Anyway, and so you just don't you just never needed Aquaman or Batman or Robin or Hawkman or Black Falcon or Toyman or Apache Chief or all those other guys that are bad guys or good guys. You just other than this group of 10, even some of these guys on the 10 list, you didn't even need. But that was just because it's fun to have all these different people, but not the Wonder Twins and Gleek and those. Don't get me started on that stuff. If you want to see something funny, of course, a little bit off color, but funny, I think Sean Baby. You check out Sean Baby's website. Yeah, Sean Baby. Anyway, he's a really cool, funny guy. He's more of an internet. He's fairly well known on internet. The internet, kind of. He has his own website for a while. He gets into the Super Friends a lot, and he's kind of a cool guy. He's a cool guy. All right, so Wonder Woman. She's okay. I don't know what they're thinking with that invisible airplane. The lasso is really cool. I think she was pretty cool. And I know that, now they have all the woman power things. I kind of liked the original Wonder Woman from the 70's, I think, a little bit more, but we don't have to get into that. Solomon Grundy, I'm sure he stunk really bad, but he was a big, tough boy. And you have big, tough boys, they're big and tough. They're just this guy was kind of dumb. So he was technically a zombie or something like that, but wanted to eat brains. There's a giant lady, giantess, big, I don't know. She was big and powerful, so she's one of the big ones too. She's up there. Green Lantern, I think he could fly, and he had just powers from his ring. But because a lot of his, I don't know, he's still kind of mediocre. But at least other than Wonder Woman, he was one of the good guys that had some more serious powers. There's this gorilla guy, a big gorilla. So again, one of the big boys. He's just one of the big brawny guys. Now Bizarro is, once you get to Bizarro, you're starting to talk about some pretty serious power because he's like Superman, just evil. But I don't know why I didn't rank him higher. Maybe it's just because he looked ridiculous. I don't know, looked bizarre. And I put the Joker in parentheses because he wasn't on Super Friends. But if he was, he'd be. I know he wouldn't be more powerful than Bizarro, but because he's so unpredictable, that's what gives him his power. But technically, he'd be below a lot of these guys. But he's just, he'd be on his own team. But I don't know, all that stuff. So, complete wild card. Lex Luthor should be really low. I know, but because I think he was so intelligent, he knew how to. Well, at least he's supposed to be really intelligent. Everybody accepted his leadership, and he had lots of money. Without his leadership, nothing would go forward. So it's not really a question of power with Lex Luthor, it's a question of influence, it's a question of leadership. Anyway, it's not super accurate here. This is just for fun, folks. So anyway. Now Sinestro, of course, I think he's the real true baddie of the group. Because, the guy is just flat out evil and he's freaking smart. And he can create all these things. He's like, oh, I don't know. There's another guy that's kind of sciencey like that it's really evil. I can't remember his name. Then, of course, as you can probably guess, Superman is, of course, number one. Obviously. This is all meant to be very juvenile and very kiddish, folks. So don't take this stuff too seriously, okay? Okay. And this is your Hanna-Barbera Laugh Olympics group. So Laugh Olympics is a fun show, but it's I think my memories of the show are what really matter, because when you see it as an adult, you're just like, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. This is retarded. But I knew why I liked it so much when I was younger. Start at the bottom. Crappy Doo. Oh, I'm sorry, Scrappy Doo. I don't need to elaborate on that one. I think we all hated that little turd. We really did. Puppy power. Okay. These next few folks are not on technically Laugh Olympics, but they're Hanna-Barbera characters. Barbara. Fred Flintstone, Barney Rubble, and all the Flintstone guys, plus the Jetsons. Yeah, they kind of sucked. But, whatever. They were a thing. Sorry, that's my hand here. Now, these are really no particular order, and I still remember there's a whole bunch of folks that weren't on Laugh Olympics that were still great Hanna-Barbera characters. Doggy Daddy. I mean, you probably don't have no idea who Doggy Daddy was. It's very juvenile sounding, I know. Grape Ape is a bit more. He's a pretty simple character, very big gorilla type guy. Wally Gator, yeah. There's a hairy little guy. It's kind of like he's like a barbarian. The little club. He's kind of fun to watch. And then there's this. Is it Snagglepuss? There's two different guys that were the announcers. One of them was named Snagglepuss. They'll put them both at 8. They were okay. I know that their voices were named kind of similar to certain actors. I know, but of course 7 is Shaggy. Now the funny thing is, there's a dog. His name is Muttley, but then there's an evil dog in Laugh Olympics who's called Mumbly. So I don't know. I just it's been so long since I've seen the show that I can't remember who's Muttley and who's Mumbly. But we're starting to get a little bit more humorous bit by bit. There's an evil octopus, but there's another nice octopus, another Hanna-Barbera cartoon, I think. I don't know. Anyway, the Blue Falcon, because he is. Yeah. If you guys have ever seen the Ren and Stimpy show, and you've seen Powdered Toast Man, it's kind of a spoof. He's definitely a spoof on these, Captain America, Blue Falcon type guys. And I'm wondering actually if who did the voice. Oh yeah, I think there's certain guys, certain voice actors that do a lot of these. I'm sure if someone said the guy's name was, I would know. Oh yeah, of course. But anyway, yep, one of the main guys. Anyway, he has this very. I will help you. Has this very kind of Captain America type sound. I don't know. Then of course, Boo Boo, Yogi Bear, and Scooby Doo to the top 3. Overall, though, looking at all this stuff, it's more kiddish. And just, I remember I loved this stuff so much when I was a little boy. Especially like He-Man and Superman. Superman movies more. And this for me is like nostalgia. And it's like, I guess it's like if you never really saw this stuff, you think, what the devil am I talking about? And why is this so important? And that can come from Generation Z or can come from, old folks. And so you have to become a Generation X, ish, arena to really kind of get into this, I suppose. And you'd also have to still be young at heart and still be a kid at heart. And I get it. So, anyway, again, so the He-Man guys were all about how creative the ideas were for the different characters. I didn't think that Skeletor or Evelyn or Ram Man was actually okay, but some of these character ideas are like, come on, a skeleton. But it worked, he's kind of scary. Kind of. Skeletor, honestly, was more about his little whiny laugh or something. His nasally laugh. He was kind of a weenie compared to He-Man, of course. And then the Super Friends is more about not just power, but the influence. I think the influence they had over all the other guys and that were allied with them. And then I actually had these with, again, the Hanna-Barbera characters I ordered them in terms of how entertaining they were, also how funny they could be. You would think that Scooby-Doo is maybe not the funniest guy. In all honesty, the funniest guy, there wasn't really a whole lot of, it wasn't like laugh out loud funny, but um, I think it was more the situations they were often in. I think maybe cute. Cute is probably a better word than funny. Probably funny. Blue Falcon maybe because he's so serious. You get a chuckle out of Blue Falcon, but yeah, Scooby and Shaggy, they were the comic relief of Scooby Doo, and of course Yogi Bear and Boo Boo. All right, I'll wrap this video up. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. Leave me thoughts and comments below. Take care. Bye.